Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Eddie Marcus again. You know, I had to laugh. It seems as if I'm getting in this camera so many times till the thought of it was just funny. But it is essentially necessary as I can see it because of you, the people. Today is Saturday. Some call it the Sabbath day, the seventh day, the day of rest. Tomorrow is the first day, and many people are going to be going to church when they have been told that the first day is not the Sabbath. But I won't even focus on that. I got something in my eye right now. I can't stop talking though. I wanted to say that, be that as it may, I was in the bed relaxing, getting some rest from this past 6 days of turmoil. Me and my old lady. We were just relaxing, watching a movie, something called Narnia, and it was really interesting. But I began to think about myself, and I began to think about black people, and I began to think about white people, and I began to think about Orientals and others. Some of those names, I have no idea what category they fall under. But I started thinking about all people, not just here in America, but Russians and North Korean and I just started thinking about people everywhere. And I was thinking about how we all exist by a certain power that made us, and how essentially each of us want to see the fulfillment of our individual dreams. We really want to experience happiness in this life. I don't think there's a single person on this planet that does not want to experience simple happiness. There are a lot of obstacles, but I keep thinking that we as individuals, we were made in such a way that it didn't matter what color we were, how nappy or how white or how black or how we were individually different. But we still require the same things to survive, like food and clothing and shelter. And how good education, the proper education, aided us in becoming more accessible to one another and offering more in this life of sought out happiness. Then I began to think about the responsibility that each of us play in the fulfillment of that. And then I saw each of us engaging ourselves in such a way that that could actually happen as an expression of the almighty power that is responsible for all existence. And yet I began to think about, having thought about that, how there's turmoil in daily life, something that prevents the fulfillment of these dreams. Every day and every night it is as constant as anything. And then I started thinking about how that effort is being progressed. You know, we call it sometimes evil. We call it Lucifer. We call it the devil. We call it Satan. We call it all kinds of things. But when you really start thinking about it and looking at the activities, what we see are people just like you and me carrying forward those destructive acts. And we ask ourselves why. For some strange reason, we don't know why. And yet we see the rest of us, the masses of us, who probably are against these kind of activities. And yet these activities go forward. They go forth. And we sit back, act as if we don't know what to do. We don't want to go into war. We don't want to kill and destroy, and yet it seems as if we're waiting for a miracle, the same miracle that was exercised in the creation of this big ball we call Earth, the same miracle that was exercised in the development and association of we the people. It seems as if we are waiting for that miracle to just wipe out all of this what we call evil, all this which we call destructive. And yet something in the back of my mind says that it is people that do these destructive things. And it is not wise, it doesn't even make sense for us as people to wait for a miracle to come back and stop it. It appears to us that, or to me, that if it's going to stop, it'll be stopped by us. And since we don't kill, then we should do things. Understand, find out why those that kill, kill. Somebody has given them the idea that in receiving their dreams, they got to squash the dreams of others. In experiencing the life and happiness that they desired as we do, they got to make sure that others don't have their happiness. And it seems that they've been convinced that it is one against the other. That if they don't do this to those who won their dreams but are being beat down by them, that they don't deserve their dreams. And something in the back of my mind keeps saying that we are the masses. If we stood forth, we can not only have our dreams, but we can show them that we are not the problem, that we are not the reasons that they don't have their dreams, but in reality, we are the solution for their dreams. And in order for this to happen, ladies and gentlemen, something keeps telling me to say to you, we must stand up. We talk about a power of love, then we must stand up. Allow that power of love to be experienced in ourselves. Our history tells us that if we stand up, few at a time, that chances are we will be killed. But we must understand and hope that our love for our children, our grandchildren, our great-grandchildren, and the children and great-grandchildren of one another is so necessary, so important, that though we are going to die anyway, let us choose why we die. Let us not just let old age take us out. Let us not just allow the sicknesses and diseases that have come upon us take us out. If we gotta go out, then let us go out with our heads held high. Let us go out with our hearts busted with love, knowing that we have lived not in vain, but we gave our lives that the sinfulness of this earth can go back, can roll all the way back to where it come from, and that can go asleep because we were so daring, so daringly robust with love, and we wouldn't settle for anything else. And so, no, though we have to die, some of us will go into the ground, some of us will be burned up, some of us will go exploded into pieces, we can still hold our heads up high. Because maybe one day we'll be able to look back down on this big ball that I call Earth. We'll be able to look back down and look at the beautiful seeds. We'll be able to look back down and see people walking in harmony. We'll see people and children laughing and playing and having a good, wonderful time in life. And they are as happy as they can be because we, the people, the masses, we, the 90.9%, we, the women's movement, we, the Black Lives Matter movement, we, the white people's movement, we, the people of love, stood up and said no more, and meant it with all of our hearts, meant it with all of our lives. One day, we can look back and say, truly, our living was not in vain, because the happiness that we sought, even though we left this earth, we can still experience it when we look back and see the earth in happiness. I couldn't sleep. I had to get up and share that with you. That is on my mind every day. I can't see life being fulfilled any other way. So I just ask you, ladies and gentlemen, let us consider the great possibilities when we do what we know the others will not do. Let us stand for love, and by the power of God be blessed. Thank you so much for giving me this your time. Eddie Marcus. Bye-bye.